Simcha, the celebration of life.
Hello, welcome to Simcha, a celebration of life. I'm Nikki Wallman. Euthanasia, physician-assisted suicide, and all other types of suicide are almost unanimously condemned in Jewish thought, primarily because they are viewed as taking a human life that belongs to God. This week, Rabbi Fox continues our series on Jewish medical ethics and discusses this very sensitive issue.
We have a concept of quality of life, and unfortunately there are instances in life where the quality of life ceases to exist, and when that happens, people want not to continue living. Our rabbis told us that 1 hour in this world, when we have the potential of repenting, of doing good deeds, is more valuable than all the life in the world to come. From a Jewish legal perspective, notwithstanding the sensitivity that we have to it, we cannot take a life. And even though the person might themselves be articulating that it's a life not worth living, it's nevertheless a life, and taking it is the same as taking the life of a healthy person with 80 years still to go. And dare I say that the Holocaust and the crematoria was all started off by a discussion of how we can rid society of those who indeed have a life that people would consider to be not worth living. The question really that we have to address is, do we always have to intervene to prolong a life? If indeed, as we have said, the life is sacrosanct, does it mean that we have to do everything in our power to extend it? And this is discussed, as I say, by the great Rabbi Manis Friedman, and he points out something very noble and very sane. And he says as follows: first of all, there are certain things which fortunately today we have that are basic human necessities and functions. The administering of it might be medically done, but the need for it is not medical. First of all, hydration, oxygenation, nutrition, these are things which a human being requires in order to be able to survive. We are obligated to provide those basic human necessities under all circumstances. But doing CPR, any other resuscitation that might take place, if all we can do is prolong a life of suffering, we are not supposed to engage in processes that will do that. Who are we to extend that tremendous suffering that exists? But to have an intent to kill a person, regardless of the quality of life, is something which we're not allowed to do. So a DNR, a do not resuscitate, is certainly acceptable according to Jewish law, given the right medical conditions. Most importantly, what I have encountered is that these kind of decisions plague the family. How do you live for the rest of your life knowing that you made such a critical decision that may in fact have ended your loved one's life? And in many ways I have found that when people say it's not up to me, it's up to Jewish law, and they submit themselves to the opinion of Jewish law, then a tremendous weight is lifted off their shoulders, whatever the decision of the rabbi at the time might be, because they know that in making their decision, it wasn't based on their own personal feelings, sentiments, and perhaps even needs. Jewish law is not automatically a no, but you will often find that the answers are not what you expect. Because Jewish law, apart from being legal, is moral and ethical, and it has a neshama, it has a heart to it as well. And you will be surprised when you see how valuable, ethical, moral, sensitive Jewish law is to the issues which confront all of us, if not on a daily basis, certainly at some stage or another in our lives. And in many ways, it provides solace to a family at a time where solace is so desperately needed.
Manis Friedman is a Chabad Lubavitch Chassid. He is a Torah scholar, rabbi, author, counselor, and speaker, and is dean of the Bas Chana Institute of Jewish Studies. Today, Rabbi Friedman sheds a little insight on the concept of mine in relationships.
Everything is by divine plan, and there's more meaning to these three words than the planners actually intended. One at a time. The first thing is we have to unite. Without unity, nothing else can work. What does it mean to unite? You can unite through love, through common interests, shared sense of humor. But the real bond, the real uniting, comes from a simple word called mine. Mine. God said at Mount Sinai, He didn't say, V'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha. He didn't ask for love. He didn't ask for fear. He didn't ask for self-sacrifice. He said, be mine. V'hiyisem li. Let me be your God and you be my people. Ki onu amecha v'ata Elokeinu. Onu banecha ata avinu. Quick little story. 8 women were having a problem at a conference. All of them had become observant, and all of their husbands were unhappy. So they wanted to know what they can do. When I walked into the room, they were all giving each other advice. Tell him this, tell him that. Refuse, punish him, bribe him. I said, what is the problem? They said, our husbands don't want to be religious. I said, break it down for me. You came home one day and told your husband that you're never going to shop again on Shabbos. And he's upset? I don't think so. You came home and you said, we need another set of dishes. He's going to divorce you over a set of dishes? I don't think so. Let me tell you what is upsetting your husband. It's not that you want to keep Shabbos or you want to keep kosher. What's upsetting your husband is you came home and you said, we have to. We have to have another set of dishes. And he thinks we don't have to. Ask me nicely, I'll buy you a set of dishes. But don't tell me we have to. So he's a little bit offended. That's the problem. No, that's not really the problem. The real problem is you came home and said, we have to get another set of dishes. God said. We have to keep Shabbos. God said. Get your own bed. God said. And that would all be okay, except that he's thinking, what's next? What if God tells you to dump me altogether? Then I'm out of the picture. This is scary. What happens if God tells you to dump your husband? Let's take a look at a precedent in Torah. God tells Avraham to sacrifice his son. What does Avraham do? He gets up early in the morning and with joy and happiness sets out to fulfill God's instructions. From this we learn that if God tells you to dump your husband, you should get up early in the morning without any delay and with a glad heart. But wait, there's another precedent. God tells Moshe, I've had it with these people. I'm dumping them. What does Moshe say? Moshe says, if you dump them, dump me too. Because I go where they go. Was God upset with that? The people are giving God a hard time. They don't listen. They rebel. So he tells Moshe how upset he is. And Moshe says, well, if they go, I go. Was God angry with him? Or is that exactly what God wanted to hear? And did he forgive the people because they had a leader that understood what the word mine means? You are mine. They are my people. How can they go down and I stay here? Where they go, I go. So if God comes to you and says, your husband is not a good man, I don't like him, dump him. Well, if God says dump, you got to dump. But then you go with him because he's yours. There's nothing more powerful in the world than the idea of mine. You're mine. And what that means is you are everything I need. What you have is what I need. And whatever you don't have, I don't need. You're mine.
Well, that's the show for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. And please do tune in again, same time next Sunday. If you've missed any of our shows, you can find them on our website at www.spiritsister.co.za. And of course, don't forget to find us on Facebook at Spirit Sister Productions. We'd love to hear from you. As always, from me, Nikki, and the team, shalom, and have a safe and peaceful week.